This means that the company must pay out additional funds as a penalty to the acting union member for that that is taken away from them. Now, you have no idea how frustrating it is as a manager when you're in a difficult situation, you're in a pinch, things are going crazy, you're short-staffed, you got 5 people. You got no choice. You're going to have to jump in the operation. Some guy is sitting there, leaning against a package car, watching you work, and getting paid for the time that you spend doing the work, rather than performing it himself. That's the reality of the union. 3 points that I've talked about are entitlement culture, loss of autonomy for individuals, and grievances and direct costs to the company. That's all I've got for arguments. Thank you.
In businesses with no union, it is very easy for management to have policies very pro-management, which can make wages lower, job security, or tenure of job security a minimum, and overtime hours without pay. These policies make it harder and harder for these individuals to voice their concerns. By being in a union, it makes it more likely for individuals to be treated fairly and not taken advantage of. Fringe benefits are another benefit that unions have for employees, include things like paid leave, insurance coverage, and retirement plans. Unionized workers are more likely than their non-unionized counterparts to receive paid leave and are approximately 18 to 28% more likely to have employer-provided health insurance, and are 23 to 54% more likely to be in an employer-provided pension plan. These statistics show how much more likely you are to have benefits if you are in a union. Union members average a much lower health care deductible, and in retirement are more likely to have health insurance paid for by their employer. Each one of the benefits mentioned have a direct correlation with employee satisfaction. Unions also benefit employees by eliminating inequality and discrimination. Wage inequality is a major issue in our society by not paying equal pay for equal work. Union members receive a collective bargaining contract which discloses how much certain positions are supposed to make. Unions reduce wage inequality because they raise wages for low and middle class wage workers and don't raise them as much for higher wage workers. According to the Economic Policy Institute, union members are less likely to be discriminated for wage, race, religion, and gender. Being able to offer these benefits also increases the likelihood for job seekers for this union job. Unionized workers also receive 26% more vacation time and 14% more total leave time. Union members have a much more likely chance to receive benefits and opportunities that non-union members do not.
Alrighty, so some of our counters. Obviously, one of the big points about unions is they benefit employees by offering job security, competitive wages, and benefits. And this is true. A study by Fox Business shows that 93% of union employees are entitled to benefits, while only 69% of non-union employees are entitled to benefits. So yes, it does help on the benefit front, but there's an issue with the job security, kind of like Mike's story. It really helps out workers who are underperforming or may not even show up to work. And that in turn really hurts the employers themselves. When they have employees who are not showing up or who are not performing as well as they can, it really hurts the efficiency of the company and really hurts the company as a whole because they can't go in and get new employees to replace those people. Another thing that was mentioned was that it actually helps the economy sometimes when they're bringing jobs back overseas. You guys used the Ford example, which was a good example, but there's another example in an article from CNBC by Michelle Fox. I don't know if you guys remember the dock workers strike last year on the West Coast. That strike lasted 10 days, and every day those workers were striking, it cost the economy on average about $2 billion a day. So these strikes can really hurt the economy and really take a toll on us, even though these workers want better pay, better schedules for themselves. If they don't really think about it as a whole, it really hurts not only the company they're working for, but the economy. Another great point is that the unions really helped out the weekend for employees and the 40-hour work weeks and people aren't overworked and underpaid. That is a true thing, but if you look at it, it did happen long ago, and the relevance in today's workplace, the unions aren't quite as relevant. The government today has a ton of laws in place that really take away what the purpose of unions was for. Just to name a few, the Fair Labor Standards Act, it sets standards in wages and overtime pay. So like people have to get overtime pay, they have to be set at minimum wage. The OSHA, which we're all familiar with, we learned in here, was established in 1971. And if you look at the numbers of percentage of union employees, once these laws started coming into play, they actually began dropping because people began getting the rights they wanted that they normally had to be in unions. There's workers' compensation programs now. There was also in 1993 the Family and Medical Leave Act, which is something that people have always wanted, which gives you 12 weeks of unpaid vacation, and you can't be fired if there's a birth, or if you have a child, or if there's an illness. And that was something people were always worried about before, and that the unions fought for, if you had to leave for sickness or whatever. Okay. Oh, and then another point, if an individual decides to be a part of the union, they don't really have a choice if they're paying the fees or not. They have to pay these fees. Even if they're not part of the union, they still have to pay the fees if the job has a union involved with that. And then the last act that I want to talk about is the Employee Benefits Security Administration. So it's an administration that jobs don't have to offer benefits, but when they do, this administration makes sure that they're actually good benefits and not terrible benefits. And that's all I have.
Alright, well, we would like to leave you guys with a simple quote that resolve really gets across our point in that unions are beneficial to not only employees and limit the rate of turnover and allow companies to keep their employees satisfied, but also to the businesses that do this as well, because the businesses are profiting off of having employees feedback. And that would be, John F. Kennedy stated, our labor unions are not narrow, self-seeking groups. They have raised wages, shortened hours, and provided supplemental benefits. Through collective bargaining and grievance procedures, they've brought justice and democracy to the shop floor. I believe you guys just stated some of the stuff and the progress that unions have made, and I feel like if unions were better developed and we trained our management teams well, unions could continue to progress.
Okay, ready?
Yes. Unions could indeed continue to progress, but they will not and have not. As my partner stated earlier in this debate, the number of unions has shrunk and shrunk and shrunk. And the reason for that is because it's too difficult to manage. One of the core points of your argument is that unions work to foster these relationships between management and employees. And as someone who works in reality, it's simply not true. Unions pit managers and laborers against one another. This is something that I see all the time. This is a major point that I have that we didn't introduce, and it's basically the soul of my conclusion here today. The main point I have is that unions polarize the workforce. While the goal of successful companies is to align employee behaviors with company goals and expectations, unions work against that. I feel compelled to point out the irony that an institution that calls itself a union does so little to foster unity in the organization. They drive a wedge between the management who uphold the company's policies and the workers who carry out the function. If the union doesn't have its way, chaos and strikes ensue. The business faces a world of problems that otherwise not to mention the economy and things at larger scale. Contemporary unions take a toll not only on management, but on hardworking employees as well. The people who benefit the most from the strong-arm tactics used by the unions are the weakest members of the group, and the crony union officials and representatives themselves. Don't let these union jacks convince you that you need them. Shrug off the oppressive fees and asinine rules. Be your own person and individual. Take responsibility and be your own judge. Cut out the middleman. Everyone who rolls up their sleeves and works hard, shows up for 5 days a week for their job, provides for their family, has absolutely no need. They pay the dues every month, and they probably never see them unless they have a pay discrepancy or some other small, trivial issue that can simply be resolved by a functioning, good HR department. Human resources management can function very well in the absence of a union, and this is why unions and business is such a great extent. Because businesses have developed to be better at managing their people and handling their issues. Therefore, we no longer need this intermediary to handle our disputes. We can talk about things together. We don't need to go on strike, and nobody needs to be entitled. That's all.
Okay.